I am going to ask you a question.
With all my heart.
All right. Have you, at any time in your life on this earth, had a threesome?
What's the definition of it?
Definition.
What's the definition of a threesome?
Hey y'all, welcome to Speights with the Speights. Today we are drinking Rosada Moscato de Asti.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's so good. Cheers. Cheers to you. Cheers to you. Let us know what you're drinking in the comments.
That gets trouble. Oh, that's not getting trouble wine.
Is what? Get in trouble wine?
Trouble wine.
It's headache wine for me now.
Yeah.
Overly sweet.
All right, so there is no game this week.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah. No game this week.
Why?
Because there's a reason. Because this one is spicy, okay?
Great.
This week's episode is extra spicy, muy caliente. This week, we're talking about threesomes. So actually,
I love the Lord.
here's a wild card. Y'all didn't know it was coming. I do need you all to go and grab your boards.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
I feel like this like being in front.
I am going to ask you a question.
With all my heart.
Oh, my
All right? Have you, at any time in your life on this earth,
On the earth.
had a threesome?
What's the definition of a threesome? What's the definition?
It's 3 people. And I know you did because you said that you bridged a girl before.
Why? All right. We're here. Okay. Yeah. This is what it is.
And 3, 2, 1.
I'm holy.
No and yes.
Wow, we're here.
Holiness is right.
This is a safe space. This is a safe space.
What?
Safe space.
This was a college type situation?
Oh yes.
Okay.
That's not the only time.
A safe space.
So loud of the people.
It's hot. Is it hot? I'm hot. You're a fan.
So it was more than once.
Yes.
Talk to the people. Ed, how many times have you had?
No, so I haven't. So, Jesus. All right, like we, okay.
A few moments later.
So it was more than once?
Yeah, I've a couple of times. Yeah,
Are we lying to the people?
a couple of times. So I've had situations. where
Twice? You saying 1, 2?
I have to think about it a few times. So it's situations where, you've had girls that were just willing to do, everybody in the room.
Yes.
That's it. I've had.
G.
I don't know if that's some orgies or not. A train. You've had, I've had situations where I was propositioned by a couple of girls, and it was like you just didn't like the other girl that was involved.
Let's assume.
Or, I've had situations. I remember when I first really gave my life to God, I really was tested because I had went somewhere and I had 2 girls was like, oh, we both want you for the night. Now I'm like, okay, this is just.
What'd you say?
I said, no.
Oh.
I said, why this side? This side. Everybody can't get this dick. You know what I'm saying? So everybody can't get it. I want a community for a long period of time. But then God came in this, he snatched me out. He snatched me out. From a horrible pit. He snatched me out. Yeah, but yeah, it was a lot.
How many bridges did you do?
Bridges?
London Bridges train.
Wow. It's hot in here.
I mean,
Hot. I feel it's bad. After that.
Feel better.
Yeah.
You married now. So
This is going to be a great conversation today, y'all. I hope y'all are subscribed. I hope y'all are liking the video. I hope y'all follow Ed and Theresa on all social media platforms. So this is going to be good.
All right, so we have calmed down a little bit. And we're talking about threesomes, y'all. We live in a day and age where there's a lot of different type of situations, a lot of different type of relationships. You have poly relationships. You have, people who do, the swinging. You have people who participate in threesomes and other things to keep the spice in the relationship. So
spicy without those things, Michael.
So my question for you two, would y'all ever consider bringing a third party into your marriage when it comes to sex?
No. No, I say no because once you open that door, it's hard to close it. And oftentimes what we have seen is that people who have been exposed to threesomes, usually one person ends up falling for the third person that they've included inside of their marriage. And so suddenly you're either poly, where now there's 3 of y'all, or they leave their spouse for that other person because they rather, they enjoy having that other person more than they enjoyed their spouse. Also seen women who may not have been exposed to lesbianism before suddenly really find themselves attracted to women after they have had a threesome. Not saying that wasn't always in there, but just saying that it was exposed to them and now they want to explore that more now that they have had, now that they've been exposed to it.
I would say hell no. Now, I mean that with all sincerity because honestly, for me, I'm selfish. And I've been married 6 years. I've known her for 15, 16 years. I'm still exploring her. I'm still learning stuff about her on different levels. I don't want to share that with somebody else, regardless of you bringing another woman into your bedroom. When you take a vow to get married, if we're talking about married couples, you are in covenant with God as well. And so we forget that a lot of times, like, I'm going to spice up everything, but you are bringing this person into your secret place. And so now I'm in covenant with this woman, this third person. I'm in covenant with this third person. I don't know what this third person is doing. And so now you open the door to jealousy. You open the door to STDs, different other, sexually transmitted diseases. You open up the door to, this person's feelings and emotions. Now they're going to feel a sense of entitlement because I've had sex with you and your spouse. So I want it again. And so that opens up the door. And I've even had conversations with people. That opens up the door to, I've had sex with the one without my spouse. Maybe I can have it without my spouse being there.
But with their spouse, now they wouldn't have it with
that they would have without their spouse. See if I can do that, to still feel the same. And so a lot of times, and so you are still, the thing that we really fight a lot of times is in our mind. And so if you already have sex with this person, the thought of you having sex with that person already in your mind, your body has gotten used to it. So to say you could just cut it off and it was just one time is you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think I'm just too jealous. I agree with you on that. I'm jealous. I'm a jealous person. Not super jealous, but in a way where I don't want to share that intimacy with anybody else. And we've been assuming that we would bring another woman into this threesome situation, right? What if it's another man?
Talk about it.
Everybody, and no other dude can be typing my wife. What are we talking about? What are we doing? And I'm like, I see oh my God, I saw something on social media the other day. This girl was talking about, and you follow this, you follow whatever. This girl was talking about how she cheated on her husband, and she was sitting on her husband's lap talking about, that was just so good for our relationship, and we doing all this stuff. He's sitting there looking like a clown. He was like, no.
It was highly
for you to embarrass your husband like that, it's one thing for you to cheat your husband and, God can bring relationships back together. But for you to constantly remind that man that you let another man smash you and you sit on his lap, he's like a goofy.
Maybe she should have brought it to the red table instead.
Oh.
Maybe she should have kept that to herself. That was embarrassing idea. I mean, I understand that Will and Jada may have a different type of relationship, but that whole thing of just like, I'm about to sit up here and expose my spouse like that was just.
So do you think? I'm glad we brought that there. Let's talk about that. Because some people said that they were being transparent about what happened, and that might have provided healing. What she says is the red table is a healing space, right? Someone would say that it's a safe space, right? Do you think that is important because we know infidelity in marriage is a real thing, and possibly the way that they, share their story might affect somebody else?
Or have you been healed from it? So are we saying that we went through the proper steps through therapy and things like that to acknowledge the fact that, I still want to be with this person? And then the next step is, all right, we have a secure, healthy relationship where I can release this to the world and still know that regardless of the backlash, I'm willing to still be with this person. Have that type of healing happen, or are we doing it because we just want to clear up right?
I mean, let's really define marriage for different people. Like, not everybody gets married in a Christian manner.
Yeah.
Like, for being 100% honest, like, I'm not gonna hold them to Christian standards if they are not Christians. So if they're like, hey, this is not our thing, and I think Jada's like really into like crystals or whatever, like, so Christianity may not be her gig. And if that's not what she holds herself to, then I'm definitely not gonna hold their marriage to the same standard. So as Christians, I would say, no to opening up your marriage to anybody else, especially just having an open marriage in general. I just think that you're allowing so many spirits to enter your marriage, and you already got enough demons to deal with in marriage with just one person in general. So to be exposing yourself to another person and trying to deal with whatever they have going on is just a lot for a small group of people to handle. But if you're not Christians, obviously not going to hold you to the standard of being Christian. So an open marriage may be appropriate for y'all because you have not learned to control yourself in a way where monogamy works for you.
Yeah.
So that's why I would say, like, maybe an open marriage does work for them because in their field and with their current spirituality, it might match. To the rest of us, it may look crazy. But to them, that might work out.
And that's the thing with this. Safe space with the space. We don't chill this. So you have people that are in open marriages, that are in polyamorous relationships.
And if I may add, some of them are in the church.
In the church. Some of them are in the church too. Like, I was seeing them in the church.
You can be in the church and not be a Christian.
Yeah.
Like, let's be 100% honest. Like, you can be in the church, going to church, saying that you read your Bible, but if you don't follow the ways of Christ, then you're not a Christian. You just go to church. I think that's the reality of the situation is people can be in whatever type of relationship you want to be in if you're choosing not to follow the Bible. Like, that's the choice.
What I want to say with that is you have to be honest with yourself.
Right.
So if you are trying to put on a front for other people and saying, I want to be in a committed monogamous relationship, not for myself because of what society said that that's comfortable for me to do. But if you are not that, if you're saying like, yo, if you have not dealt with your cheating, that you want to sleep with multiple people, that's what you probably should be in instead of you condemning somebody else to be in a monogamous relationship where you're constantly cheating.
Yeah.
Be honest with that person. Like, you're not there. If you are honest with somebody and saying, I'm not there to be married to one person, I want to be with multiple people, you need to be honest with whoever is in a covenant with you about what you want to do. And we need to stop being fake with people because we want to fit in what other people want us to hear. Want to hear from us. That's not it. Because you're ruining other people's lives. You're not being honest with yourself. And then you're destroying families. You are destroying families.
I would agree with you, like, because even if you're not Christians, if y'all come together and make an agreement that you want to be monogamous, but then you go out and sleep around on that person and then say, oh, but really, I'm polyamorous, you were deceitful to that person because they may not have gotten into a committed relationship with you had they known that you were unable to be monogamous. So you should just be honest with yourself, especially, now in these times. Like, you could say whatever you want to say. You could say I'm polyamorous. You could say I'm, a polygamist. Like, I believe in marrying multiple people, or I believe in loving multiple people. You could say whatever you want to say, and people can choose to accept that thing about you. So
let's do this.
I have friends who are polygamous. I have friends who are polyamorous.
And this is going to be kind of controversial. And so I'm willing to be wrong with this, but let's talk about this.
What?
If you are gay, stop getting married for other people's response, for other people's clarity, for other people's approval. If you are a man and you like men, don't get married to a woman for other people's approval. You are destroying people's relationships. People are, you're stopping that woman from being with the person she's supposed to be with because she's your beard.
Now, another thing, if you're bisexual and you like to be with men and women, but if you know in your heart, and you have really sat down and had a conversation with yourself, and you said, I really like my same sex, and I do not like the other sex. Like, I may find things I like about them, but I am not physically attracted to them. I do not love them in that way. Do not marry somebody of the opposite sex and take them down that path, because it's the same thing with lesbians. Let's be 100% clear. I know a lot of women who have left their marriage and their children to be with another woman. Be honest with yourself. If you know you struggle with that thing, and you know that is the truth is that you like the same sex, be with the same sex. And don't let nobody hold you back from that. And I mean absolutely nobody.
Yep. I know we're going to cut in with that, but even if you're saying that you're Christian, right, let's look at this.
Yeah, because God loves everybody.
So God does love everybody. Let's say that you are a man and like you like other men.
Yeah.
You should bring that to God and say, this is your truth, and deal with that instead of me dealing with this and how I feel, I'm going to go marry another woman and be in covenant with them, even though I don't feel that way.
Because it won't solve the problem. You think your problem is being gay, and you think the solution to being gay is marrying someone of the opposite sex. It is not a solution to being gay. There's nothing wrong with you. So if you think the problem is being gay, don't solve that problem with marrying somebody of the opposite sex. It is not a solution. It is going to create bigger problems for you and your children. Don't confuse those things.
All right, so I had to get a drink because y'all are y'all. Let's get a drink. Let's toast the audience real quick. Okay, so. Oh, that's good. I see what she meant when you said this gets you in trouble. Okay, so question.
Yes.
Everything that y'all said is so crazy. I have these conversations with people all the time. But what would you say? Because a lot of what I've seen in church culture is they tell men, well, to be delivered, quote unquote delivered. All right, we'll use that word delivered. I am delivered. So to be delivered, you have to go ahead and go marry the opposite sex. And then you will learn to love that person, and God will take the quote unquote desires away.
No, there's no such thing. Like, what is ultimately going to happen is you will learn to watch porn. Because you're looking for something that she can never provide you. Like, she's missing parts for what you like to experience. And you will never be sexually satisfied with that woman because you are not interested in women. And you will ultimately end up breaking that woman's heart and making her create self-delusions about herself, thinking something is wrong with her. When nothing is wrong with her. And in truth, nothing's wrong with you. You just won't accept who you are.
I'll say that. So me and T, we might disagree, but from a Christian context, I'm not promoting homosexuality. I'm not promoting polytheism. I'm not promoting that. What I say is that we need to be realistic in what we're doing. I think a lot of things that are struggles for people is in a Christian context over things. So even in the Bible, everybody did get married. Some people are eunuchs. Some people just dedicate themselves to not being married. What I'm saying is that if you are struggling with it, for me, I'll put it in this context. For me, I struggle with being a thought, being a hoe, being with multiple women. Before I can get into a context of me wanting to be married and faithful to one woman, I had to get to a point where I had to do self-work to deal with that, because you've trained your body to be with multiple women. Now, if you train your body to be with multiple women, you can't instantly just be with that woman and be faithful. So you have to go through that process of, all right, I have to deconstruct that mentality of being with multiple women. I have to be okay to be with myself. Then be with women. So if you were a gay man, you desire to be with a woman, do the work to do that. But if you don't see nothing wrong with being gay and you're gay, you should not marry a woman for religious acceptance or acceptance from other people. You have to deal with whatever you're going to deal with, because that's who you are.
Yeah, and this is where we vastly disagree, because I don't think anything's wrong with gay people at all. Like, I don't think that there's absolutely anything that you need to be delivered from if you are gay. I think you need to be delivered from your mindset because you think something is wrong with you. And in truth, you just need to be honest with yourself. Now, I will say that comes with a caveat. If you are gay because of trauma, you need to deal with the trauma. Because you need to make sure that the root of what you're saying is like, I'm in the gay community and I'm gay, but you've had trauma. You need to deal with that trauma first and then make sure that you still feel the same. Because sometimes people will say, I'm gay because they had sexual trauma as a child. Mm-hmm. And just because somebody inappropriately dealt with you as a child does not mean that you are gay. So you need to deal with that first. And if you get to the root of that trauma and you still feel the same way that you feel, then I believe that there's nothing wrong with the way that God created you, period. So I think God told us to love everybody, and we don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. So the only person that has to accept who you are is you. You need to talk to God and decide what you believe is true. Not what somebody told you. Read the Bible for yourself and decide for yourself what you believe is true. Because at the end of the day, we all sin. And if you were to die right now, you have to account for all of your sins. And if homosexuality is not a sin to you, then you don't have to account for it.
Because there are people who are homosexuals who live pure lives.
Yes.
They're with this one person, whereas somebody who might be married
with multiple people.
Yeah, multiple people. So
yes, adultery is still a sin.
Oof.
Period. And lying is still a sin.
Oof.
And talking about and gossiping about your neighbor is still a sin.
Isn't it?
Loving your neighbor's wife, if y'all are up here, jacking off to Beyonce, that's still a sin.
Do we think there's levels of sin?
No, there's no levels. Like, God said all sin is treated the same. So just because you lied on your taxes and you think homosexuality is a sin and that person is also sinning, y'all are the same.
And do you think there's levels of sin?
I think that it's all the same as sin, but I think that some sin is different.
Okay.
But certain sin that you can do that you're doing on yourself. Like I am having sex with somebody, like adultery, like I'm doing sin to myself, but there's certain sin that
and to that other person.
And other person, but if I'm like killing somebody, I think that I'm committing sin on that person.
On both
situations. And so, when I say with homosexuality, and this is the thing, we have to get out of that. Everybody is not a Christian,
right?
If you talk about this basic letter of the law in a Christian context, you would say homosexuality would be like an abomination. In a Christian context.
In the Old Testament,
Christian concept
says that y'all eating shellfish.
Yeah.
Y'all eating pork. Y'all going to church without having your head covered up. Y'all, so like that's where I'm like, there's a lot of stuff that we would say it was a sin then, but we say it's not a sin now. So then, how can you turn around and say, okay, homosexuality was a sin then, And that also must be the
My point is like getting out of the Christian context, because what we try to do, we try to place our values and our belief system on other people. And I'm saying that regardless, like if you're homosexual, however you live in your life, my thing is don't try to like half-butt it. You know, like, okay, for lack of a better word, don't say, all right, I'm living this, I don't really care if I'm a Christian, but you know, I still want to get married so I get accepted. Why do you want to who are you getting accepted by? You want to get accepted because your family and their values and their traditions are rooted in Christianity. And so that's why you want to get married to a woman if you're a man, or you want to be married to a man if you're a woman. Yeah. That's the reason for it. Like, you're not being honest with yourself, and you're hurting your partner that you're in covenant with. So that's what I'm saying in regard to homosexuality. You have to get out of the Christian context of it, because you can't have your cake and eat it too. If I'm saying I want to live under Christian ideas and values while still doing this, then it's not right, because this is what the Christian ideas and values are. Get out of that context. Live in.
I don't necessarily agree with that, because I think that's kind of saying that like gay people can't be Christians, and I really disagree.
No, you can be Christian, but that's what I'm saying. You can be. I can be a fornicator. Like, it's a lot of pastors that are out here fornicating, stealing money from the church. A lot of pastors out here just don't really give no crap about their sheep, allegedly, and all this other stuff. That they're still Christians. So I'm not saying you're not Christian, but I'm saying if you want to honestly say, oh, I'm following what God told me to do, that's what I'm saying. People can be Christian and do whatever they want.
But what if God told them it's okay for them to be gay?
That's for God. God told them that. I'm not God. I can't speak for God, or can never speak.
And that's my whole point. It's like, you can't speak for God, right? Like, God is God and God alone. And so he doesn't really need your help to like say what he's going to say. He can say whatever he wants to say to anybody, because he's constantly talking. So I feel like at the end of the day, like, a lot of Christians try to make judgment on gay people and say like, oh, they can't be Christians, which is false. God loves everybody, no matter where you're at, no matter what space you're in. So that's why I just disagree with statements that try to make it seem like gay people can't be Christians. But to bring in the topic of threesomes, I would say that oftentimes the issue with people who are gay that get married to the opposite sex is they want to bring in somebody of the same sex into that marriage, just so that they can say, oh, this might have turned me gay. But in reality, they were already gay. And they just were lying to themselves.
Then we get back to this. We didn't really talk about with threesomes. It goes back to communication, because are you being honest with your spouse as if they're to the point of if they are satisfied?
Yeah.
I think that's a tough conversation for some couples. We've had these conversations with certain couples. It's like, hey, this person, for whatever reason, is not satisfying you. And I think this happens a lot of times when it comes to people who didn't get an opportunity to know what they liked sexually before they got married. They had an ideology of what sex was during marriage and expected their spouse to feel something that they never had an opportunity to enjoy for themselves.
I mean, we talked about this a lot in the Savage season, but to me, like, if you didn't go through a phase where you got to figure out yourself and where you could find your own G-spot or whatever, like, how can you expect that man to find it for you? Like, you need to know exactly like where your stuff is, where your spots are, the things that you like, so that you can help assist your spouse. But if you can't help them and then you're like, our sex life sucks, it's like, well, maybe the problem is you.
We don't have sex education in church. Do we have sex ed? At what time do we went to church and it was like, you know what, as a husband, this is how you should satisfy your spouse?
Yeah, no, I will definitely say like our church when I was growing up had sex education, but it was like, you should be abstinent forever. And then the girls start turning up pregnant. And then that's when they brought in my mom, who was like, this is what a condom is. Because it's like, to me, that should not be in like a strange conversation. Like, you should know how to protect yourself as a woman and as a man whenever you're having sexual activities with somebody outside of marriage or even inside your marriage. Like, what happens if you get married and y'all don't want to have kids right away? You should know about different birth control. You should know about different things that can help assist you so that you guys can have a fantastic sexual life in your marriage without actually having children, because the pull-out method does not work. So
went to war. People that went to war over what people do when they be runs due to the church. Try to force people on what they was doing.
y'all aren't supposed to be giving head to your spouse. And I said, that's the best way to lose a man, honey. You better learn how to do
Yeah. Yeah. Hope that's not a quarter.
YouTube.
You can say it.
Oh.
Well, I think that's a good way for us to wrap things up.
Wrap it up.
I feel like that's gonna be like
Wrap it up.
flip, like you just learned to open
Wrap it
up.
up. Wrap it up. Just be careful if you're going to bring somebody else into your marriage. You have to count the costs. You can't lose your spouse. You can't lose yourself. That third person might feel entitled.
And might blackmail you. Because, like, let's say that you are anybody of even significant importance to the people around you. Suddenly they can be telling them, like, oh, I'm going to email everybody that you know and love and tell them that you're out here, like, hoeing around, you know, with this other person. And that could devastate you no matter where you're at in life. You don't got to be, you know, Beyonce status for somebody to make you feel like you're being blackmailed by somebody else. So, like, do not feel like, oh, man, like, I have to be really high up to feel blackmailed. You can be blackmailed and just with
I have a story for y'all on camera.
God definitely reveals to me a couple of girls who had went to our church who were trying to get close to have threesomes with us.
What?
Definitely revealed this to me. It was like, you need to not have any association with them. Like, definitely wanted me and Theresa. I'm like, nah. So
That is so
you gotta be
funny to me,
careful.
'cause I
You
never
gotta be careful.
assumed anybody would
Like, hey
ever-
sis, how you doing? Hey bro, how you doing? Oh, I just love y'all marriage. How y'all?
Please do not
careful.
do that to us because
careful.
that's disgusting. You would be kicked out of my house so fast asking about any kind of foolishness like that. Let me tell y'all 100%. There is one person that now gets to sleep with Ed on a regular basis. For all you women that had the great experience before, just think on those things because it will never happen again.
I you just say all those?
Did
God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
You're saved and sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost. No,
First.
Yes.
Cheers. Toast to another successful episode. Here's the question for this week. Are you open to threesomes in your relationship?
Ooh, man. Like, comment, and subscribe. We want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts? And don't forget to hit that notification bell. Bye, y'all.